Hello, hello. Uh, let's talk about gaming and games and my gaming history. I'm sick, so I don't have the energy to do any my day stuff or vlogging or anything like that. I tried. I took a shower. I did some laundry. Did some washed dishes, and that was probably too much because now I feel exhausted. But I want to do something, so let's talk about um, games and my, like I said, gaming history and some gaming related topics I found on TikTok. So let's start with the how did I start? My first games. I'm born in 1985, so that makes me 40 years old now. So I'm really a really basic, maybe millennial, but I'm the elder millennial. I prefer the term Xennial because the year 85 is really in the middle of Gen Xers and, the real millennials. We are in betweeners, and so many stuff that goes with the millennials doesn't really add up with us. Many things that are typical with the Gen Xers aren't really typical with us. So that's just an introduction of what you might expect from me, and how my views of life and how my life has probably been and what I have been through. But let's stick to games for now. But anyway, my gaming history began when I basically grew up with my cousins, two boys. One of them was born 85 like me, and the other one was 82, so 3 years older. And they had a PC, really old one, and later Amiga 500. So I have been introduced to the gaming world via Paperboy. That was like the first game ever that I have been playing, and we used to play that with like together. Like the other one was, guiding the character, and the other one was throwing the papers, and and I will put some pictures and maybe video clips if I can find some over here. So, well, if you know, Paperboy was the thing. And the second one was probably Doom or Doom 2, both of them probably. With Amiga, we played a lot Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, and Street Fighter, and Golden Axe, and but at the time when we got the first computer, first PC, actually it was the old one from my cousin's house. We got their PC, and so I continued to play Paperboy, Doom 2, and Wolfenstein 3D, and what else? Warcraft, the first Warcraft. That was really something. But oh my god, it was slow. It was so slow. But yeah, but those were like the things. And the second console or computer we had, we got a secondhand Commodore. I can't remember the model, but we didn't have the cassettes. That was really new to me. When at some point I had some friends that told stories like, yeah, you remember when you used to go to school in the morning and you left a cassette, rewinding your favorite game, and when you came home from school, it was probably rewinded already, so you could finally play. And I was like, what kind of Commodore you have had? Because I didn't. What? The cassettes, with the gaming cassettes, and I was like, no, I had floppy disks. and they used to look at me like, you fucking rich people. Like, I didn't know. Like, we had the Commodore at the time when most of the people already had, Nintendos and PlayStations even. And I used to play like Samurai Warrior, and remember that if you didn't nod to the monk, he killed himself, or something like that. And of course we had Bubble Bobble. Yeah, we have that. And then we had, of course, Gianna Sisters 1 and 2, and which is, funny because I have never liked Mario games. We never had Nintendo. I used to play some Mario at my friend's house. I can't remember was that like a Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64. I don't know. And I have played Mario, but it was never my thing. Everyone was like Mario and Donkey Kong, and not my thing. Never. It was fun, yeah, when we played at my friend's house, but never really my thing. Mario, no. Or Zelda, or Donkey Kong, or anything. Nintendo, overall, not my thing. Never had a Nintendo, no. So, we had a Commodore, and I loved Gianna Sisters. At some point, after Commodore and the old PC, I think we finally got the first PlayStation. It was like a year, 97 maybe, because one of the first games we got for PlayStation was Final Fantasy VII. And as you can see, it was the Platinum version, so it was on the market. It had been on the market for a while because it was the Platinum version. And the other games that we had at the time, the first ones was this Hercules. This was fun. I haven't really played this that much, but it's kind of fun. And I can't remember, which, the correct order, but first ones were this Resident Evil, first Resident Evil, and as you can see, this is also the Platinum version, and Platinum version, and I can't. Here's those spider legs. I can't. And as I said before, Final Fantasy, but this specifically, this Resident Evil, was a pain in the ass, and still is. I can't get anywhere on that game. I have never played it through because I suck. Apparently I suck because I can't get this through. This doesn't have, the difficulty levels. Unlike the director's cut version, when we borrowed the Resident Evil from a cousin, and when we bought our own, why is this so much more difficult than the other one? And it took some time to realize that, oh my god, this is some director's cut, and this had difficulty levels. And don't kill me, but later on we had the mod chip to our PlayStation, and we have this kind of version of the director's cut. And here's like standard, training, and advanced levels. So, first games, and after Resident Evil we got Silent Hill, of course, and this was like, at the time, way too scary for us. So it was kind of left off. We thought that this is really similar to Resident Evil, but way more scarier, and the puzzles were more difficult. And anyway, Resident Evil was more fun. And with this, you really had to think. at the time, it felt like that, at least. And later on, I got this, and this is still one of my favorite PlayStation games, Final Fantasy VIII. And of course, we got the Resident Evil 2 and 3, Nemesis. And now, if I recall, we had some questions about if you got an old console, what are you loading first? Well, I have my Commodore at home at my parents' house, but I'm not sure if I can. I probably don't know. I don't remember how to use it. But if I can, I would probably put on Gianna Sisters, because the theme song and the vibe at the time was something else. But that's what I would do first. Random thing that shows your gaming age. Well, I probably showed it already. Before you could play any games, you got to pretend to be a coder. I don't know, because I somehow I really loved that at the time when we had the first PC. There was this black screen, and you had to write things to it so you could start the game. Like D station, the D station, like D double dot enter, and if you wanted to see the list of the games on the D station, you had to write dir enter, and then you got the list of the games. And if I wanted to play like Doom 2, I have to write cd doom enter, and then doom enter, and then the game popped on. And also, if you wanted to go to Windows, you had to write win enter, and then it went to Windows, because otherwise it was on the black screen in the DOS screen. And the blue screen thing was on Commodore, if I recall. You had to write load games or something like that. That's the thing I can't remember. But anyway, that's the random thing. The game you finished multiple times. A game that I have finished more times than any other is probably Resident Evil 2, because I got really excited when I found out that you could get some prizes based on how fast you go through the game. And of course on different difficulty levels, and how much time you spent playing it. It was like under under 5 hours or under 3 hours and under 2.5 hours and under 2 hours and 15 minutes. And my personal record is 2 hours and 9 minutes that I went through this A scenario. You know, if you have played this, you know that there are A and B scenarios. Because you can choose the character, you can play either... Oh my god, this is broken. You can play either with Claire or Leon as Kennedy. And basically, if you start with Claire, if you start the A scenario with Claire, you have to, after you have finished the game, you start the B scenario with Leon and vice versa. They are slightly different from another. But that was like, I have finished that game like probably 100 times. And and mind you, it wasn't until my maybe 30s when I just realized that there are puzzles that you don't have to do. I did everything. Every fucking puzzle that you maybe you got some ammo that you didn't probably need. You know, if you do only those where you get some key or, you know, that are essential for the plot story, that you get through another door or anything or something like that. But holy shit, I probably would have like got through this probably in an hour and a half. I tried to play this through for a while ago. It took me like 6 hours because I'm rusty. Anyway, so that took a long time also. My first PlayStation 2 game was probably this, Silent Hill 2 Director's Cut. My other first games that I got was Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2, of course. But anyway, I lived on my own and I had the Christmas break, and I remember playing Kingdom Hearts like around the clock, like non-stop. I played through the day, very, very late in the night, and probably until morning, you know, like 4 or 5 a.m. And then I went to bed for a few hours. I woke up maybe 10 or 11 and I immediately put on PlayStation 2 and I played Kingdom Hearts. I finished both the first and the second one on that Christmas break. But that's all I did on the Christmas break. I played that like all the fucking time. That was like 2008. And I'm 23 at the time. And now, when we are at the topic of Kingdom Hearts, let's... So, fast forward to the year of 2017. I'm 32. I'm really bad at math, but anyway, I'm 30-something, and the year is 2017. And this is a really hard topic for me, I'm sorry, but I have to say this. I had a really, really hard episode of kind of abuse. I had a person which basically a sexual assault. But anyway, that's another story. But there was a time in 2017, maybe January, February, March, that I went into really, really deep waters, and all I could do is sit on my ass at home and play video games. And this is what led me to Kingdom Hearts. I found out that the Kingdom Hearts games that I have been playing in 2008 on PlayStation 2 had been remastered to PlayStation 3, and they are called 1.5 Remix and 2.5 Remix. And of course, they took many hours. Well, how many hours are there in 3 months? You can count from there. So I was basically, again, round the clock, I was on these. So I really got into the character development, and I don't know if I said that right, but anyway, character development, anyway. So that's what took my time. And yes, I didn't do anything else. I couldn't even go, I couldn't even take out the trash. I couldn't go to the mailbox. I couldn't go to the store. I always called my friend if she wanted to, if she needed any groceries done. So I had a car and she didn't. So I always called her like, I'm going to I need to go to the grocery store. Do you? Which basically meant that could you come with me, because I can't do this alone. I was like really agoraphobic, and my boyfriend at the time was working like 20 hours a day, and basically he didn't give a shit. I told him about the assault, and he was like, well, bummer, and continued to watch TV. And that was it. So gaming saved me probably from, I'm not gonna say, but that okay. That the next question was, what game helped you escape life? And this wasn't game related, but thing that kept you alive in your lowest point in life. Gaming has been like multiple times the thing that helped me escape my thoughts, myself, and the world, and helped me in my lowest points in life. Because if I really don't know what would I have done if I didn't have this hobby. Eventually I went to therapy and I got medication and all of that, but at the time the worst, when I was just with my own thoughts and myself, and I just didn't want to talk about it. The worst time, the first months went like that. I was gaming, and that was probably the best thing that could happen to me. The last question I have on my list is, what video game moment made you put the controller down and just sit there? And I probably speak for most of my age group when I say the death of Aerith. And, this moment. In Final Fantasy VII. And at the time, I remember I was one of those who was devastated, because Aerith was the kind of character that was like one of the main ones, one of the important ones. Even though her weapons and she, basically sucked at fighting, and basically the only useful thing that she had was the healing wind. But still, the character and the story and her background and all of that seemed so important to the story that it was really shocking moment. And I was one of those who really thought for a long time that it could be, prevented. That you could stop her from dying. That you could do something in the game. That you could do some choices on the road that would prevent her and those things from happening. But I think at this point we know that it is not possible. At the time we didn't have the internet as it is today, and we couldn't Google any tips to gaming, and we had maybe few gaming magazines that sometimes published some gaming tips and codes and guides. Especially I have this little notebook that I used to write on those tips and guides and codes. And sometimes I asked my mom if she could, take a copy of those pages at work, and then I would cut and glue them on the notebook. And there was some, tips to how to prevent Aerith from dying, and you should not go on a date with Barrett and stuff like that. But I think it's not possible. At the topic of Final Fantasy VII, I had a question. The game you will defend forever, even though the graphics are shit, and in today's world, it is Final Fantasy VII, the original. I know there has been remakes and all of that, but the original, you just had to be there. I guess I don't know if it's the same if you start this today and you have never played this, you have never heard anything, but if you take your PlayStation 1 and start this, does it feel the same? But back to my gaming history and my style of gaming and my style of, my gaming life, basically. So at the time when I was in Finnish high school, lukio, I graduated, and while others on my class who graduated, they bought some, everything that you need when you move away from home for the first time and you go to study, you go to college, whatever it is in Finland. When people were investing into their future, I was there I'm gonna buy PlayStation 2 and few games. That's what I did. And I have been really happy. I did not, no regrets, never. Then, and that was spring 2004. Later in life, I bought PlayStation 3, the muscle version, not slim, but fat. And at the time, this was maybe 2008, 7, 8, somewhere around there. And PlayStation 3 had already been released for a while ago, and it cost over 700 euros, and mostly because you could play PlayStation 2 games on it. And later on, probably they realized that, well, most of the people that are gonna buy PlayStation 3, they already have a PlayStation 2, so the compatible on backwards, whatever it is called, it's probably useless. So they took took that away, so you couldn't play PS2 games on PS3 anymore. So the price dropped to 500 euros something. And also they released some different kinds of hard drive sizes of it. I remember I bought probably the 40 gigabytes size. Then I bought PlayStation 4. It was maybe the year of... I've always been kind of late with these things. I bought the PlayStation 4 2019, maybe. And it had been on the market maybe 5 years already. So, and now I still don't have the PlayStation 5. I'm working on it. Probably I will. But at the moment, every game I find on the PlayStation Store that I want they are always, compatible with PlayStation 4 also. This is another topic that I'm gonna make a video of, but I'm a weird gamer. This is a game from I don't know what year even, but Kingdom Hearts 3 on PS4, and it's still on plastic. Let that sink in. I'm a weird gamer. But anyway, that's another topic which I will get into later, but this is it for now. Oh, one more thing, because this relates to the topic. There has been many years that I haven't really been gaming a lot, because basically I had a business. I've been working, I've been having like these chronic illnesses and all this fucking shit stuff going on in my life, and I have, totally dropped off the wagon, of the gaming world. I have no idea what's been going on in the gaming world, on the gaming scene. I have no idea what kind of games are there, what kind of games are coming, what. So, and I used to, I had two different gaming magazines that I ordered, that which like came to my house every month, and that was the time that I was really onto the scene and I knew what was going on. And so I decided to order a gaming magazine again, so I can keep track like what's going on. But even though I have the gaming magazines now coming to my door like every month, the downside of it is that I don't have time to read these. Here are the magazines that I haven't been able to read. I didn't have the time, but here's like November, January, December. Yeah, so maybe now when I made a video about this, but my life has taken a really big turn over the past year. So maybe now when I don't have to think about my, business all the time or do things and spend my all my time with that, I have come to the conclusion that nowadays I probably would have time to play. I will make another video about what kind of person I am as a gamer and what kind of games I like to play nowadays. And okay, in this video you probably saw and just a little got the hang of it, what kind of games I do like. But there is so much more to that story. But let's just say that I'm a weird gamer, really weird. And I'll get to that at some point. And sorry about all these weird filters. It is what it is. I feel sick and I look sick, so I didn't want to look at myself as like that. So enough for this video. I will get to the other one at some point. And thank you. And thanks for watching. This probably is going to be a hell of a long video, and I'm sorry I'm blabbering, and okay, I'll stop. Thanks, bye.